no. Oh, okay. So we're on. Okay, great. Welcome. It's Unfiltered with Birdie. I've got Nothende here. Oh my goodness. It's such our songstress, our songbird, our talent, our all-time first lady of hip-hop. I don't care about everyone else, but she's the first lady of hip-hop. And yeah, you can go argue with Google. Okay. So, my baby girl, thank you so much for hanging out.
It's so good to be here. To see you after so long.
How many years? It's been
I don't even know.
20.
Like, so many decades.
I'm so excited. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. You're looking gorgeous.
Thank you. You too.
Full of life, vibrant. She's drinking chai latte, and I was just
yes, darling.
saying how
we do.
I have trauma
In this heat.
I have trauma about chai latte and corporate. So
it's fine. We shall heal your trauma.
Nah, but we don't need counseling. We just
no, it's fine.
We need clear liquor. Anyway, so babes, where do we start? We've been having so much conversation.
I know, it's like we've kind of already started.
So, I've always thought you to be a girl from Soweto based on your musical affiliation. Where are you actually from? Tell us, where are you from, your family, and where you grew up?
Nothende, Olive Madumo, was born in Mafikeng. When I was born, we were staying as the entire family on a farm, on a plot.
Nice.
And by the time I was 6, we moved to Garankua in Pretoria. Then I was staying in Pretoria for some time, moved from Garankua, went back to Mafikeng for like 2 years, went back to Pretoria, did my schooling there, my primary schooling, did first year of high school in Clapham High. Then I came to Joburg, 98.
Sure.
Yeah, so I've only been in Joburg, I mean now it's a very long time, but only since I was like 14, 15, somewhere there. Yeah, so originally King Manoko Northwest.
But guys, why? Like, I think it has been a mind fudge. I'm trying not to use the French. You know, it's been a mind fudge because ever since, I think it's also the fact that you were the first lady of hip hop, as I mentioned, and you were about Township Frequency, about Wicked, about Selvin, about
who are all from Soweto, yes.
So I was like, no, this honey's from Soweto, and then you had on some Khuli Chana vibes, and you're doing that track that is still like huge to this day. Now, how did you meet them?
Okay, so before I even met Amu and Khuli and everybody, the first hip hop artist that everybody knows that I met was Mags.
Madumo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Madumo. There was a studio in Orlando West, and I'd met some guys from NSA that were filming. Yes, actually, now I'm remembering as I'm telling the story. So I was working at the Market Theatre, doing a play with Napo. I don't know if you know Napo the poet. Yes, Mashi.
I think something
Napo Mashiano, something like that. And the guys who were filming were from NSA, Abosizwe, Nabo Lishonono.
Okay.
And then they told me about a studio in Orlando West that I can go to, meet the guy, the producer, the guy who owns the studio. He also does production, meet some other artists there. That's where I met Mags.
Okay.
And then from there we started.
And so what year was this, give or take?
98,
99?
No. This was after matric, so this was 2002.
Okay.
Yeah, this was 2002. And we started a group called The Playoffs, myself, Mags, Marcus, young Marcus, rest in peace, young Marcus, and the sister and brother duo, TD and Train.
Okay.
And then we got signed to a record label called Appetite Records.
Appetite.
We never released the album because, life happened to the label.
Really?
Yes, yeah. But
were there any tracks that you released?
We recorded a whole album.
Oh, wow.
We recorded an entire album.
Can we still find it anywhere?
No, it was never released.
How, guys?
It was never released.
Take us back, find it.
Yeah.
Make a plan. We want to know.
And it was a beautiful album, But in between all of that, so I was obsessed with radio, and I'd always call in whenever there was a competition to win tickets or anything really.
You were that hand.
I was. Listen. So the one time they were giving away tickets or something, but you had to sing, and I thought, hey,
why not?
This is literally right up my alley. I called in, I sang. They asked me to hold on. And then they said, no, listen, Lance would like you to audition for Lance Stir.
Okay.
Yes.
Not
Get a
Lance.
rough.
Oh, that
Yes.
Lance. Okay.
Yes. So at that time they were doing auditions for Gazlam 2.
I saw you do a throwback about that sometime
Yes.
this week.
Yes. So they said Lance would like you to audition for a role in Gazlam 2 because there is a character who also sings, a lady. I was like, okay, great. The day of the audition, I get there, I meet a guy called Andy Tladi. He was just chilling around. He wasn't there to audition or anything. He was just there. And he recognized me from the radio show. He's like, oh, it's you got such a dope voice. I'm going to make you famous. He was talking typical manager, record label talk, record exec talk, you know?
Yeah.
The audition didn't happen because everyone else who was supposed to pitch up for the audition didn't show up. So they said, okay, we'll postpone it. And I thought, okay, maybe it's not meant to be. Why
postponing? I mean, I'm here. Why
I
not
know,
let
right?
me?
But I didn't take it personal because whatever. And then a few months later, Andy, that guy, calls me. He's like, listen, I'm in studio with KB and he's looking for a female artist.
Was this KB Get a Rough?
Get a Rough KB.
Okay.
And I told him about you, so you have to come to the studio right now.
Sure.
And I used to work at Musica at that time, and I think he called me around 11, 12 during the day, and I had a shift that started at 5. So I was like, okay, listen, I can come, but more 5. I must clock in. He's like, okay, it's fine. I get there, I meet KB, he says, okay, sing for me. So I sing, he's like, oh, I like. He's like, okay, I'm gonna play a beat and write something. Let's see what you can do. So he plays a beat. I write. Then I record. I'm like, guys,
on time.
I'm recording. Go to work. My mind was on work, right? But I'm also excited because like studio. Oh my gosh, it's KB. Fine. Then maybe a week or two later, KB calls me. He's like, okay, I'm gonna get a rapper for the song. I'll let you know who. When I find somebody, I'll let you know. Okay, fine. A few weeks later, listen, what do you want to call yourself? I'm like, what do you mean? My name is Nothende. Yeah, but like, as an artist, like, I'm like, my name is Nothende, it's fine. He's like, okay, so the song you did, it's going to be put on the Gazlam soundtrack. They really like it. Yeah, I'm going to get a feature. I'm like, oh, okay, great. The next time I heard the song was on radio. So I didn't even meet Khuli in studio, nothing. I just heard the song on radio. But because I wasn't familiar with Khuli, the only Chana rapper I knew at that time or was familiar with was Jabba. So I was like, is this Jabba? But I can hear that it doesn't sound like Jabba. But because I only know Jabba, I was thinking maybe get Jabba. Maybe he's just got another voice there that he's brought out. Then Ghetto Rough was having a launch. While they were showcasing all the artists. Backstage, that's where I met Khuli.
Wow.
Because we were going to perform that song.
So how long after the song had dropped did you meet Khuli?
I think the song dropped maybe around November of 2013. And we met maybe December, January.
Sure.
But the song had been recorded maybe like
already.
September. So it'd been a few months of the song, being recorded, and we met backstage and we just connected and vibed. From there, that's when I met Amu and Salvin and Wicked and everybody else, because they heard, I think they were not used to hearing a female singer, soulful singer on a hip hop R&B joint, like sexy,
that
sensual
vibe.
Yes,
you gave us that.
So they loved that, and they were just like, hey Nothende, I want you on a song. Hey Nothende, come let's get into studio. Let's get into studio. And I was more than happy, I love hip hop. When I started writing songs when I was 11, I always used to have a hip hop verse in the song. So hip hop is, I've always been there. It really is, So I was more than happy to be available to all of those guys, and I loved working with them really.
So now, when did the conversation about forming Township Frequency happen? Because that was like a whole era of its own.
Township Frequency, the concept existed before I came into the picture. It started at Lee Club with Amu, and Salvin, and there was another guy. There was a third guy, and then it just kind of evolved, as time went on. And then when I came into the picture, it was like, okay, this is the crew now.
Yeah.
Amu, Wicked, Salvin, Nothende.
Yeah.
This is Township Frequency.
Yeah.
So then we started kind of working together on everybody's project. We're working on Wicked's album together. When
Which
Salvin...
was absolutely awesome.
that was so much fun, man. That was so much fun. When Salvin went into studio, we were all there. When Amu did his second album as well, we all came in there. So it was we just never released an album as a crew.
Yeah.
But
those tracks,
what we did.
Were they singles? What were they? Because we had them.
Yes.
We had them. And we were just like, everybody wants to be the man. And then what's that? A few of our favorite things.
Yes, these are.
I actually got that song on my phone and I listened to it. That's like when I decide to go walking or jogging, I'm like, these are a few. And your voice, so magical.
It was fun, man. I really had fun, and I loved. Look, I grew up in a school, I've always loved music and theater and performance and whatnot. So from a young age, I've been into theater. So when Amu was making beats and he had the songs from the musical Annie, is it Annie?
Annie, yeah.
These are a few of my favorite things, and that whole vibe, I just vibed with it. I was like,
yes.
this is me, man.
Let's do it.
So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Wow. So hey, I love how this is the breaking down and your timeline and the legends that you've worked with. Now bringing it to the late Prokid, and I think you did a stellar job on his album. How did that conversation happen? And how was the studio experience with him?
Pro, when I was in the crew with Bomags, one of the group members, young Marcus, he lived in Pro's gas, split.
Okay.
And he would always talk about Pro. Whenever we'd come together as a crew, he'd be like, I feel to Pro. And in my mind, I was like, who is this Pro? And then I started hearing some of his songs because they'd play, young Marcus would bring a song and I'm like, oh, he sounds really, really dope. And everybody was talking so highly of him. I wanted to meet him. I was looking forward to meeting him because I was like, this guy he's up there,
guy, because
exactly. Exactly. And then I eventually met him. He was signed to, I think it was Gallo at the time. And Amu was one of the producers of his album. So because of the synergy that we had with Township Frequency, Amu just called me into studio. And then Pro said, hey, I want you on a song.
Wow.
And I thought, oh my God, Pro wants me on a song.
I'm doing this thing.
So I was really nervous because I wasn't, after that, Pro and I became really close friends. But at that time, we were not.
Sorry, Baba, 2 seconds. As you know, we are shooting from
a public space.
Books in Maro's Arch, and we do have a little bit of disturbance. So excuse the noise. This is what podcasts are all about. We're real like it. Let's have a coffee break for 2 seconds. Please, gentlemen.
Can I be on the podcast?
Do you want to come and say hi? Come and say hi.
Can we say hi?
Hello everyone!
Hi everybody! That's
This is my
it.
Instagram. I'm not giving it to you because I'm taken by my sister.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's where it's coming from.
What are you guys talking about?
She's a musical artist. She's Nothende. If you Google her, you're gonna know exactly who she is.
What type of music do you produce?
Anything, house, jazz, hip hop, R&B, pop, anything. I can, yes, I do.
Give us a rap. Can you freestyle? Freestyle.
You freestyle for me. Yes.
I'm not a rapper.
Oh, okay. I'm not a rapper either. I
You
sing.
said you can rap.
I can rap. I sing,
give us
but
a-
I sing
give
for
us a
money.
demo, give us a
You must
demo.
pay me.
Right now,
Yeah.
she doesn't think for me.
Where's
the
Are you gonna?
So what's the podcast called?
Unfiltered with Birdie.
Unfiltered with Bird.
She's Birdie.
Yes,
How's
I'm
it,
Birdie.
Birdie?
How you
Nice to
doing?
meet you.
Lovely to meet you. You can Google it. You can find it on your socials. It's dropping on the 22nd of Jan.
Oh wow.
And we're gonna go.
You guys
boom.
had another podcast.
We've
Can I be a guest?
We've recorded stuff. We're just gonna
Can I
drop
be
it.
a guest?
Okay, are you gonna give us your
I
number?
mean, you're definitely gonna be in here now.
It's gonna be like, oh, there they are.
Just take the
I've got
Instagram
some tragic
handle.
stories.
Please put your handles. Yeah, put
Yeah,
your
but I
handles
can't come
on
in,
here.
so we could do it like over the phone.
No, I'm gonna tag you guys on this episode because give us your handle.
Yes,
Your
yeah,
handle.
yes, yeah.
Instagram.
Instagram handle.
I'll get you.
You just search my app.
Gotta love it.
Yep.
So I'm definitely gonna tag you guys on when we finish dropping.
Are we your favorite song?
Your favorite walk-ins, and I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
The energy.
Yeah, it's just like
You choosing the wrong person around.
What are your names?
Exclusive books.
why not?
This guy is Uda,
Can do it anyway.
Oda,
Gavi,
Gavi,
Zahara.
Zahara.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Oh, lovely. She's so pretty, the Zahara.
Ah.
And Rami. Lovely, guys. Lovely to meet you. Thank you
What
so
are you
much.
guys up to? You just chilling?
We're chilling before we go back to school.
Which
Okay.
school do you go to?
Maharsha.
Oh,
Ah.
lovely. It's a Jewish school?
Yes.
Lovely, yes. I think certain religious affiliations that we understand. So,
Are you
yeah.
religious?
I do. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. And I know that, we are different in our own ways. But definitely, we're all people.
We
and we're all
definitely
beautiful.
are.
Thank you so much for
Thank you so much. We'll give your
gate
music a
crashing.
Please do.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
You're going to get it on
Spotify,
the podcast.
everywhere.
Cha-cha.
Google me, baby.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys. All the best for the year.
I love it. Back to regular programming. Here we go. We got fans officially.
I got new fans.
Right. So where were we? We were talking
Malia
about
Machuta.
Lamela. It's gonna come. We invited Castella. Oh my goodness. So he's asking why we're in a public space. I think it's because we get to touch base with all sorts of. This is not a generic podcast where we're sitting in a studio. We want to get a different kind of energy. It's unfiltered, Tina. We're not going to cut and join and edit and whatever. We want you to see the realness of what actually happens in the world. Because I think that society has made us so fake. We're trying to do it for the gram.
Yeah,
We're
there's
trying
too
to-
much of a performance.
Why are we doing it? Because at the end of the day, I think authenticity is everything, and that's why I think I've loved you, and I've always loved your authenticity and how you've embraced your talent and you've brought it to us in a raw form, and you've always been yourself. And I think having known you how many years now, more than 20 years, and knowing you now, you're still that same grounded, humble, funny, beautiful girl that you were when I met you. And I think that is one side that people don't get to see because we associate you with all these big names, because you've really made it big. You have really left an indelible mark on the industry itself, and I don't think you get your flowers as often as you should, you know. How has society, kind of based on how music was then and how it is now, how have things changed, and what are your biggest qualms with the industry right now?
I think now, like, there's just a lot more, the industry is a lot more clustered. So there's just a lot of artists. But the focus is so much on attention. So people are putting music and focusing on how many likes, how many views, how many plays, how many this, and I feel like the attention to talent, to quality is diminishing. It's like we care less and less about talent. I saw a post this morning. Somebody posted an artist who doesn't sing without music. I think
A cappella.
yeah, like I sure, but they don't really sing. They just get on stage and they just
I was about to
yeah,
mention. I don't want to name
Yeah,
drop because I don't want to
yeah.
give people airtime.
So, but her caption in that post alluded to, her just not understanding why this happens when there's an array of talented artists that are not getting booked.
True.
They don't have money, they're not getting those gigs, and then you get these ones that really do nothing, but because they are famous, they get all the money, they get all the bookings, So there's definitely an imbalance. There's definitely something that is just off, and we've focused way too much on the surface, With social media, the focus is on the views and all of that, and the quality of the work that we're putting out. Not to say that there isn't any, but it's not getting the same.
I think the scales are very they're not balanced anymore.
They're not balanced anymore. Before they were a bit more balanced. There was so much more quality music out, and we were just challenging the system, the industry, the way, the policies, the way things function. Now it's like, oh my gosh, now we have to, it's like I have to compete with, I don't want to say somebody that's not talented.
A pretty face or a clout chaser.
Exactly.
Or, because, I'm sorry, I'm going to call a spade a spade. Sometimes, I mean, looking at the scale in which music has evolved, right? You used to write well. You know, we used to go to listen to music for the lyrics. We used to listen to music for the beat. We used to listen to the music for the production, the heart and the soul, and the ethnicity and the realness that went into creating that song. Where it was timeless. And we're not just doing about, okay, they're making a quick buck, the song is going to last, it's popular for 2 weeks and then we forget about it. But you, and during the time that you were very big in the music industry, which you still are, and you know, when you're Thandi Somaswise and all of them, you guys were running the industry. You were doing it for the pleasure, for the love, and for the talent. Now I think the problem is that we are doing it, yes, like you say, for the gram, but then it's also that
it's lost soul. It's definitely there isn't soul that you're hearing. I mean, there was much more soul in Kwaito back then than what would be Kwaito now, what we would regard as the new age Kwaito now. There was much more soul.
Do you think
back
then are they able to resurrect it? Do you think that there's room?
I really think there is, because music is music, man, you know, and when something has soul, when something sounds good and it feels good, it'll always feel and sound good, regardless of the time that we're in, you know. I just think the industry, the way the industry is set up, makes it very difficult for an artist at a certain age to continue to stay, you know, relevant. I don't want to say relevant, but to stay busy. So you end up being a 40, 50-year-old artist competing with your 18-year-old. which becomes a bit of a frustration, and I can understand why. But if you look at, now I'm going to look at international, right? You know, your Anita Bakers and your Petila Bell, am I saying it correctly? It's fine.
Yes.
Not our mother.
So they have now tried to resurrect their music and mash up with, you know, the new age artists in a way, or do you allow new age artists to do their covers? Do you feel like South Africa is not harnessing that notion where, as young artists who are upcoming, like your Zoe Mudichas, who have covered, you know, your covers of your Miriam Makebas, I think, is it important that the youth embrace music that was there prior to their time?
Yeah, I think it's very important, and that's another thing that's missing as well. We, at the time, at our peak, if I can say that, we were very much aware of who came before us, and we would always speak about them. We would always mention them. We would always pay homage to them, whether it's in interviews or through performances or in studio. But now, if you ask a lot of new artists who Nothende is, if you ask them who Amu is, if you ask them who was the biggest pop, Afro-pop or Kwaito or hip-hop artist 10 years ago, they don't know. They don't know. They just know themselves and their peers. So that's definitely something else that has changed. And it's sad because you lose the history, you lose the story, you know, and it sometimes creates a certain arrogance. I mean, if I didn't know that TK existed before me, if there was no Lebo Matosa, if there was no any female artist that came before me, if I didn't really truly know and honor that, I would be so arrogant because I think it's just me and I'm the first one. Yes, you know. So sometimes it does create that a little bit of an egotistical energy, you know, in terms of how one moves, because they're just so unaware of what actually happened for them to be able to be in that space, you know. But then again, our industry is so messed up that the education, because that is education. History. It's education in the history of music of South Africa, and education in music doesn't exist in this country. It doesn't exist.
What do you think? What can be changed to ensure that this education filters down to the generation that is now?
It starts with an individual. I mean, I started coaching and mentoring young artists, and from there it inspired me to start an academy, and I've been creating a whole curriculum and whatnot. But it starts with an individual, because it's very difficult to group people together, because everybody's got their own ambitions and their own ideas, and a lot of artists don't have time for anything other than being famous and being busy, performing and whatnot. So when you say, guys, can we come together so we can create this and teach young artists, for them it's the job of SAMRO or the government. It's up to the individual. It's up to us as musicians, as the artists, because we are the ones that are the industry. The industry does not exist without the musicians. So if we don't make sure that that story carries over into the next generation and the next generation, this generation is not going to teach the next generation anything, because they were not taught anything. They were just taught to make money, get million views,
Get it in, get the
and
bag,
get as many
get
shows.
the bag.
Exactly, So, but I'm doing what I can, and that's all I can do, really. That's all I can do. I can't stress myself about what anybody else is doing. I have to look at what I'm doing and just let God do the rest, really.
Can I get an amen? Yes. Perfect. Now, picking up from this conversation, right? I know that internationally they invested a lot in music and education and stuff like that. And what is that school where the School of Jazz that is in, I think, in East London or Grahamstown? Do you think that Johannesburg, because it's so highly saturated and people just assume that being a musician is getting into studio and just hopping onto a mic without understanding scales and notes and all those things, do you think musical education is important, that it needs to be a part of the syllabus so that it doesn't become an industry that becomes obsolete, where music actually becomes documented? How do you think that we can kind of make it evolve into something that is more long lasting for the future generation?
Look, I've always been an advocate of music being part of the syllabus, our education syllabus. Firstly, there are benefits to learning music because it sparks other parts of the brain that other subjects that we have in school do not get to.
Yeah.
Secondly, what learning music does over and above being able to, play notes, to write notes, it also creates a certain discipline within the artist. It creates a certain respect, for music, for what they do, for the industry. Now, because that doesn't exist, it's each man for himself, just do whatever you want. So sometimes there is no discipline, sometimes there is no respect for the art, for the craft. So having music as part of the syllabus will make all those changes. I know it will, no matter how long it takes.
So we need to talk to Ma'am Angie. Ma'am Angie, can we please have input into the syllabus, because it's not happening. The maths is not mathsing. And actually you're right. And I think the passion of people and their talents, it's something that we need to hone and at a school level. I mean, when we were in school, we used to have music and we used to have things that were actually actively getting us to tap into who we really are, our callings, in school. And then talking about that, when it comes to religious affiliation, what is your religious affiliation, and how do you believe in God, and how do you stay centered? And because you've remained centered, how have you become and stayed Nothende over the years? From a religious perspective.
Oh, I've gone through so much. Firstly, I know that, I exude whatever energy I exude, but I've really been through a lot of trauma, a lot of turmoil, and just chaos and confusion, probably more emotional than anything. So it's more internal, so you can't really see it. But it's definitely tested a lot of things about me over the years. But no matter what I go through, even if I say "Ke kwatetse Modimo," my faith is still there, you know. And I always say that the reason I'm upset with God is because I actually do have faith in God. If I didn't have faith in God, then I wouldn't be upset that this didn't unfold. Like, how Modimo, why didn't you? I know that we look at it differently sometimes, but for me being upset, or me being, going through the motions of dealing with my faith while I'm going through all the things that I'm going through, I've always believed that Modimo uteng.
Yes.
Modimo is there and is supposed to be there to take care of me, to look out for me, to guide me, to protect me, to just help me in whatever way, I've always believed that. I once was a deep church person. I'm not anymore. Not to say I don't believe in God, but I'm just not a church person. And I understand, for me, I understand energy, and I'm a very observant person. So I may not have, walked the path of Islam, but I observe it. I may not have walked the Buddhist path, but I observe Buddhism. I observe all these spiritual and religious practices, and I see a common thread in all of them. Yes, in all of these things, just as with everything in life, there's good and evil. There's dark and light, but there's a common thread of believing, of being just a good person, just be a good person and be full of love. All these religions, all these spiritual practices preach that in their different ways. They all preach love, so when it comes to religious wars, oh my gosh, for me that is the most unnecessary thing on earth. When we're arguing about, no, you guys are evil, this one is better, my religion is, that is the most unnecessary thing, because none of us know God in God's entirety. Because you would have to know every single human being that has ever existed, that will ever exist. You would have to know every experience of every life in every that's impossible.
It is.
So we have to accept that, there's something that God is doing in this space, in this religion, with these people, just as there's something that God is doing here with these people and their beliefs, So when we argue about beliefs, I don't get into that argument, because we're all here together. We're all one. At the end of the day, we all come from the same source. All of us. It's like flowers. Think about flowers. There are roses, there's hibiscus, there's all sorts of flowers. But just because it's not a rose doesn't mean it's not a flower.
Exactly. Can we get an amen?
Amen.
Okay, and really. So now, if we talk about what wakes you up in the morning, what keeps you going?
We spoke earlier about ADHD, and I was telling you about how I feel like my brain functions like what I feel an ADHD brain functions like. Just here one moment, there again. So I get a lot of ideas. I mean, sometimes I sit and I'm like, God, are you sure? Like, we're still busy with like the idea from last year. So far an extra 10 ideas, So for me, the ideas that God plants in my heart, in my brain, that keeps me going, because I look forward to bringing something new to life. I love creativity. I love creating things. I love bringing things to life. So that's what keeps me going. Whether it's music, whether it's hair products, whether it is anything really. I love knowing that I'm going to be a part of something that is going to be new and exist for someone else.
And then I'm talking about hair products, right? You've gone on this journey of hair evolution, and I know you've gone all natural with your microlocks. What is your feeling about this whole? And I always say that it's the hatred of self in the black skin, where we want to have the synthetic hair because we're taught to hate the kinks in our hair. In hindsight,
Yes.
and that's just my feeling.
Yes.
How do you feel about going our natural versus the weave? What is your take on this weave society versus natural hair society, and how it affects the young girls who are growing?
Yeah. Look, I was part of the Weave Society. So I'm not going to say I've never, I definitely was there. I was feeling it and in it for a little bit. But I grew up with my grandfather, and he was an advocate of natural hair. He was also friends with Tate Huma Sekela, who we know
didn't like
was,
this.
yes.
Pro-natural.
Yes. So whenever I'd come home from the salon and we did perm, whatever, my grandfather would look at me. What rubbish is this?
Stressing the hair.
What rubbish is this? You must cut it off. And my hair journey began when I didn't want the perm. It's interesting because we used to do perm, so the hair was like curly. It was a curly fro. But then I wanted relaxed hair because everyone at school had relaxed hair.
Yes.
And my grandmother was like, if you want relaxed hair, you're gonna have to do it yourself or pay for it. Like you figure yourself
Fund
out.
it, yeah.
I mean, I was 11 at that time.
You're
Where am I
like
gonna?
Chana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I stopped going to the salon and I started plaiting my own hair, just doing, doing whatever I could do to my hair. And then later in life, when I was like 14, when I moved to Joburg, then I started relaxing my hair because then I'd buy the relaxer kit, then I'd do it myself.
Uche, scalp, and all that jazz.
Listen, and then after high school, I got into the weave thing. So I was there for some time, but also just not knowing, not really understanding, even scientifically, biologically, in terms of health, the implications of using relaxers. I was completely unaware, But in 2010, was it 2010? I'd say, people say they go through an awakening.
Yes.
That was my year of waking up,
Yeah.
really, because I just changed so much. I questioned what I'm eating, what I'm putting in my mouth, what I'm putting on my skin, what I'm putting on my hair. I questioned so much, then I stopped. That's why that's the same time that I stopped drinking alcohol and stopped eating meat for those 5 years.
And how did it feel? What did it do for you, psychologically or emotionally, physically? What was the change?
I didn't expect anything. I didn't even know what I was expecting. I just knew that I needed to change something because I wasn't sure what was happening. And I was also always sick. So that's another thing I wanted to change, But 6 months down the line, I felt so light.
Sure.
Energetically light.
Yes.
It wasn't even about weight or anything. Yes, the weight comes off, but you just feel lighter. And you realize that, oh my God, I was consuming things that were just weighing me down, but I wasn't even aware that I'm weighed down by the food or whatever else that I was consuming, So it changed my life completely. Now with the natural hair journey, that's also part of a spiritual journey. Because as I got into my ancestral journey, I started to understand the spiritual essence of hair and why we need to honor it and take care of it and nurture it, And so I then started, I guess I opened myself up to being an advocate and a hair healer, really, of a person who's of African women, really, who are going through the motions with their hair, because a lot of women, they don't want to hear that it's self-hate, but a lot of them say hateful things about their hair. Ish, I don't like my hair. My hair is so annoying. Oh, it's so stubborn. I hate it. It's coarse. And now I have clients that I work with, but with all my clients I tell them, I'm like, how you speak about your hair will reflect in your hair. We always say, oh, hair's an antenna. It really is. Your hair listens to you, my darling. It's like a plant. If you want to grow a plant, I get it. They say if you're gonna say, oh, you're so ugly,
it's gonna wilt.
It's gonna wilt.
Yes.
Hair is exactly like that. So these are some of the things that I try to teach and to share, on social media platforms and with my clients, because I do understand what a lot of women are experiencing internally the dialogue that they have within them about their hair.
No, and then picking up about that, the change of your hair structure and the way in which you grow your hair. Has that changed? Because I think a lot of women struggle with the self-love and understanding what it takes, because society has warped the way that especially Black women love themselves. Do you feel that the hair journey helped you figure out who you are and fall in love with yourself a little bit more?
Definitely. Definitely. Growing the hair, I used to cut my hair all the time. Ne? As soon as we grow, get that awkward length and you're like, cut it. And then I stopped cutting it. And as it was growing, you start to see how it evolves, because how it behaves at a certain length is different to how it behaves when it's short. And I had to learn to accept my hair as it is, how it is, because I had this thing in my head that my hair is just gonna be whatever I think it is. But I realized, my hair has got some straight strands, and like if I just left my hair without combing it or anything, it would look a little bit weird. But I had to accept that. Like I had to go through the process of, but this is your hair, girl. This is your hair. Yes, it's dry when it's not moisturized. Yes, it does this when it's not like this, but this is your hair. I had to go through that, even with the locks as well. That's another hair journey as well. And you just, with each stage, because as the hair grows, it goes through different stages. You have to accept your hair. Sometimes it's fluffy, sometimes it's matte,
it just has
sometimes it's it has its own behavior, and you have to accept it. But if you don't allow yourself to experience your hair, you won't go through that.
Sure.
You won't know what your hair is capable of, what it does, how it behaves, because you're always maybe covering it, and it's the weeds, stressing, so yeah, man, it's very interesting, this hair journey. But I'm here, man. I'm here for anyone who really wants to take on that journey. But there are more and more women that
are now
embracing or realizing that I need to do something. They may not know how to articulate it, but they're realizing that they need to make some kind of a change, because they are getting tired of the weaves and the wigs, because it's becoming heavy, and sometimes spiritually a lot of the wigs and weaves and whatever, it's synthetic hair, plastiki. So sometimes you think I'm
that
itching,
conversation.
but you're itching because ke plastiki that's constantly rubbing against your hair, against your scalp. You see, so also educating them about hair and how it responds to different things, synthetic things, to different types of textures, and to wool, to the sun, to air, all of those things. Khanyani, we'll get there.
We'll get there. I think. No. Let's take the conversation in another direction. I know we're entering the month of love. So. Has Nothende got a significant other?
No.
What is this? This is the whole pandemic, and it's South Africa has just an issue with the whole pandemic about relationships and mujolo and the toxicity and who's healthy and who's not healthy for who and why.
Oh, that bores me so much.
Do you believe in love? And is it a
thing?
thing?
I really do believe in love. I just feel like people are more ready to give up and walk away than they are to keep going.
Why do you think that's the case? Is it not because people are so toxic, people are so fake, that it's difficult to bear yourself in the most honest fashion, to allow someone to love you authentically? Maybe could that be the disconnect?
But there's also this thing of, remember, we have a big self-love movement. And from that movement, while the journey of self-love is important, but sometimes we take things to the extreme. So from the self-love and independence movement, we then start to embody certain energies that make us feel like we scrutinize other people's behaviors and characters so much that, if you're like this, then you shouldn't be around me. You don't match my energy. You can't do this. We forget that we're all human beings that have all experienced some level of
trauma or
trauma
abandonment
or some negative
yeah.
experience, and obviously that will create certain behaviors or characteristics. Maybe you'll have trust issues, maybe you won't open up so much, or however it plays out. But I feel like we just don't give each other a chance anymore. We don't give love a chance anymore. We're looking at, what can you do for me?
Yeah.
What can you do for me?
Is it a money thing? Is it a currency thing?
In many cases it's a currency thing, because people are desperate for money.
Yeah.
So they feel like, I need to make sure that whoever I'm with can provide
But
and make
do you
sure.
think society or social media has propelled this agenda
Definitely.
so much and blown it, out of proportion?
Social media has made us take things to extreme levels. And I'm not saying that some of these things are not important. It's important to love yourself. It's important to have boundaries, to love yourself enough to know that I shouldn't be here because I'm being taken advantage of, or whatever the case is. But we don't even give people a chance anymore.
Because you're like,
We
if you don't have the
give-
money, you can't take me for dinner, you can't do this, you can't do this.
Or
It's
one
not
mistake,
about
fella, it's bye-bye. I'm out. I'm done.
forgetting that other people also have their own traumas.
We don't even want to discuss the traumas. We don't even have those
We don't want to
conversations.
communicate.
We don't want to communicate. We just want sunshine and roses. And if it's not sunshine and roses, then
I
bye.
don't love you, or you don't love me.
Do
Do you think that marriage is a thing? Do you think that the culture of marriage is something that we should even continue to aspire to?
I really think we should. Because if you think about life on earth and human beings, firstly, we're never alone. We're not alone, right? We exist the way we exist for a reason. There's man and woman for a reason. In order to create more human beings, more life, we need two human beings, a man and a woman, to come together and co-create.
Yeah.
Right. So for that to happen in the best form possible, there has to be some kind of connection between these two that are creating new life. So marriage is important, a relationship is important, companionship is important, love is important, building a family is important. A family structure is so grounding to the human being. Yes, single life is nice and everything,
yes.
but a family structure is very grounding. I've never been married, but I've been around a lot of married people. My mom's married, my uncles, I see it. I see how grounding it is and what it does to the human beings, the individuals, and the community, the family around. It really grounds the energies, of these connections. So I totally believe in marriage. I know it has become, there's so many other things that we've put in there, but at the end of the day, I still believe in marriage.
Yes. I like that. Hopefully we're gonna get, but I feel like I'm gonna get married when I'm old and grey and I'm 50 and my knees are sore. I just need someone to wash my back when I get old and rub my knees. We'll do it a second time. But it's been so lovely. But I just wonder, what's coming up? What should we look forward to? 2024. What is there that we need to expect from Nothende?
I'm turning 40 this year.
No, girl. She's
So-
looking like a spring chicken.
Forever young.
Looking so lovely.
Black don't crack.
You know what it is.
So I think I'll just be doing things to celebrate myself. You in the beginning you mentioned that I don't receive my flowers enough, and that may be true. But I also don't give myself flowers.
Please
enough.
give them to
I don't
yourself.
celebrate myself enough. So I've taken it upon myself to celebrate myself a little more. I am releasing a new project.
Yes.
I can't wait.
How far in are you?
I'm already done. It was actually supposed to come out last year.
Oh, yay.
But there's just been a few delays, which, you never know why.
God's time.
Exactly. So it's definitely going to happen this year.
Yay.
And
So look out for that album when it drops. Watch
Yes.
the space. You are on all social media
Yes.
platforms. We can find you there.
Yes.
Lovely.
Find me there on social media platforms. Nothende Madumo on Facebook. Otherwise, Blak,
Blak
Blakolive.
Yes, girl.
Everywhere else.
You know.
And I want to tap more into my creative energy, really, you know. I want to start working in different other forms of art. So in art galleries.
Yay.
I want to start doing creative direction for some theater shows as well. And also with the hair, I'm just going to do something. I don't want to say too much, but I'm going to do something
for our young
something really beautiful.
And let us know
to
so
look
we can
forward
push
to.
it, you know?
Yes,
Let us know.
definitely.
And then we'll spread the word.
Definitely.
You are a true blessing. You are beautiful. You're amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time out. I'm truly, truly humbled with making the circle bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yes, I love it.
And
Thank you
wishing
so much.
Love, light, and all the goodness. uJehova kwenze kahle.
Amen.
Makhanye, makwande, makuvuleke, and higher and higher. But thank you so much. Nothende, a Blak Olive, signing out. And I'm Birdie. We'll catch up same time, same place on the flip side. You know what it is.